stand here 1,000 years ago, and you would not see a forest. You would see a city bigger than London, a city bigger than Paris, and almost nobody in America has ever heard its name. This is Cahokia, built on the floodplains of the Mississippi River, near what is now St. Louis, Missouri. At its peak, it held more people than medieval London. It had pyramids taller than anything else in North America until the 1800s. It had plazas, canals, and a population that vanished so completely, even the people who lived nearby centuries later had no memory of who built it. This is the story of America's first great city and the mystery of why it disappeared. Around 1050 AD, something extraordinary happened on the banks of the Mississippi. A small farming settlement exploded into a metropolis almost overnight. Historians call this the Big Bang of Cahokia. Tens of thousands of people arrived within a single generation. They came from hundreds of miles away, drawn by something we still don't fully understand. Maybe it was a religious movement. Maybe it was a powerful new leader. Maybe it was simply the promise of fertile land and a rising civilization. Whatever it was, Cahokia became the largest city north of Mexico, larger than Paris at the time, larger than London. Cahokia's builders moved an almost unimaginable amount of earth, all by hand, without wheels or draft animals. They constructed over 100 mounds. The largest, now called Monk's Mound, covered more ground than the base of the Great Pyramid of Giza. On top of it stood a massive wooden building, likely the home of Cahokia's most powerful ruler. Below, a grand plaza stretched out, large enough to hold thousands of people for ceremonies, games, and gatherings. Cahokians built a massive circle of wooden posts aligned with the sun. Researchers now call it Woodhenge. It marked solstices and equinoxes with startling precision, functioning as a solar calendar carved into the landscape itself. Then, over the course of roughly 150 years, Cahokia emptied out. By 1350, the city that once rivaled the great capitals of Europe stood abandoned. No war destroyed it. No single disaster is recorded because no written record exists at all. Archaeologists point to a combination of causes. Deforestation stripped the surrounding land of timber. Floods and droughts strained the food supply. Political tensions may have fractured the ruling elite. Whatever the exact cause, the people of Cahokia didn't simply disappear. They dispersed, likely forming the ancestors of several native nations that exist today. But the city itself was left behind, its mounds slowly reclaimed by prairie and forest. For centuries afterward, settlers and historians looked at Cahokia's earthen mounds and refused to believe Native Americans had built them. Some proposed lost tribes, wandering Vikings, even collapsed civilizations from overseas. It took modern archaeology well into the 20th century to confirm the obvious truth. This was a Native American achievement, built entirely by indigenous engineering, entirely by indigenous ambition. Today, Cahokia Mounds is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of the most significant archaeological sites in North America. And yet, most Americans drive past it, or past cities built where its farmland once stood, without knowing it existed at all. 1,000 years ago, a Native American city rose on the banks of the Mississippi, larger than the great capitals of Europe. It built pyramids, canals, and a solar calendar written into the earth. And then it disappeared, not through conquest, but through forces still debated by archaeologists today. Cahokia is a reminder that the story of America did not begin with European explorers. It began centuries earlier with a civilization whose name almost slipped through history entirely. If this story surprised you, imagine what else has been forgotten. Subscribe and let us know in the comments, which lost city or civilization should we uncover next?